Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. The federal government will spend nearly $1 billion to give women and their children a financial lifeline to flee domestic violence. A crisis national cabinet also agreeing to crack down on what young boys watch online while admitting there is still work to do. As we go to air, hundreds are gathering on Parliament lawns in Hobart, joining the national movement this Domestic Violence Remembrance Day. Advocates, community members and families of victim survivors lighting candles to remember and honour those who have lost their lives. Organisers are calling for more support and awareness for those affected by family violence. Fed-up workers in Tasmania's child safety sector have walked off the job, demanding immediate action to address concerns in the healthcare system. They claim understaffing, low pay and poor working conditions are impacting their vital work.
They are the glue holding the state's health system together, and their message is clear.
What do we want? Pay rise! When do we want it? Now!
In a health system plagued with issues, support workers in the state's child safety sector feel they have no other option but to walk off the job.
It's an absolute unacceptable situation where we cannot even pay a fair wage to people who are supporting the most vulnerable Tasmanians.
Claiming the care of vulnerable children is being affected.
We work in a crisis-driven situation on a daily basis where we have to make decisions on the run with children in crisis.
With fears the situation will only worsen if the sector loses any more workers.
And they cannot attract workers to this industry if they pay them unfairly.
The union threatening to intensify action if nothing is done.
They will escalate industrial action unless this state government honours the promise it made over 12 months ago and pays these workers appropriately.
Over the last 18 months, the government has said multiple times it's addressing the sector's staffing crisis and poor working conditions.
This government is so out of touch. We need to see intervention. That is why we are calling on the Premier to intervene.
And in terms of getting a mutually agreeable outcome with the government, my understanding and my advice is that that's expected by the end of this week.
For these workers, every day without action is a step towards a failing system. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmanian News.
2 important reports into the health system, including an investigation into falsified death records, are yet to be released. Accused of playing politics by suppressing the reports, the state government is preferring to herald the success of its ambulance ramping ban.
10 days since a 60-minute time limit for offloading patients from ambulances came into force, the signs are good.
Yesterday, all 4 major hospitals across the state achieved the target, and we were able to get ambulances out into the community responding to emergency cases.
80% of patients in the north and northwest are being transferred within the hour.
We have had some issues still at the Royal in the last couple of days where we did see some patients unfortunately ramped for 3 hours in one case and 4 hours in another, but we've worked through those.
Average off-stretcher times are 54 minutes at the Royal Hobart, 40 at Launceston General, 26 at the Mersey and 27 at the Northwest Regional Hospital.
It's not mission accomplished, just to be very clear. This is a long way to go, but we've made good progress.
The Greens are demanding the release of 2 overdue reports, one looking into allegations of falsified patient records at the LGH and an independent review into the state's EDs expected to be handed down 2 months ago.
It can only be a political decision that those reports aren't available to Tasmanians immediately. Why is the government continuing to hide information from Tasmanians about the true state of the health system?
But the Minister insists there is no cover-up.
No, I haven't seen physically the report, but I've received a briefing on it yesterday. Deb Bacone requested an extension with her experts, and that extension was provided. We're acting as quickly as possible. We're not waiting.
Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
A modest bench seat outside a bakery in the northwest is being used to spark powerful conversations around domestic violence. Tasmania's first red bench unveiled in Ulverston today, encouraging locals to take a stand against domestic violence. The initiative, launched by the Red Rose Foundation, as a reminder family violence occurs in all communities. Central Coast Council plans to install 3 more red benches in the surrounding area in coming months. Trains are set to resume on Tasrail's Western Line this evening following Monday's collision with a truck at a Westbury level crossing. But for drivers, the road will still be closed for another 24 hours, with further works expected tomorrow. Tasrail has thanked the Westbury community for its patience. Members of a northern Tasmanian community have come out in force to show their opposition towards a proposed service station in their town. Residents say the site is an unsafe location.
It's a community's plea to be heard. These Longford residents rallying against the proposed 24-hour fuel depot at the entrance of town.
Why are we inviting these B-double trucks into Longford?
They're concerned its location would create a traffic bottleneck, saying the road's unable to support double-trailer trucks in large numbers.
The road is not designed for B-doubles to be trying to turn in or get out. If you end up with 2 trucks here at once, it's just not going to work.
Northern Midlands Council unanimously rejected the developments in October, citing safety issues. But an appeal was lodged 2 weeks later with the Tasmanian Civil and Administrative Tribunal.
Even though we've put in that we've rejected it, that may well be overturned and this development may well be able to happen.
Local MPs on the ground at the protest hearing the concerns from residents.
We should be trying to get trucks out of Longford back onto the Midlands, not bringing them into the town.
Clearly the community are against this. They do believe that it will be risky and dangerous to them.
Lowe's Petroleum, which operates under the BP logo, says it's committed to listening to the safety points raised by the Longford community. A mediation session is set to be held on May 15. Mark Zita, 7 Tasmanian News.
Hobart Airport's multi-million-dollar facelift is getting ready for takeoff. Construction on the $130 million runway upgrade will begin in July, partly funded by the federal government. The works will pave the way for more direct international flights, boosting Tasmania's trade, tourism and Antarctic opportunities.
It'll create $122 million of additional economic activity and over 1,200 jobs.
The prospect of more international flights across Asia right here from Hobart is fantastic for freight and getting Tasmania's fantastic produce into more markets across the world.
Work should be completed by the middle of next year. Local supermarkets are joining with Food Bank to help reduce landfill waste and feed thousands of Tasmanians experiencing food insecurity. Under the program, 94% of food waste is diverted from landfill and into the fridges and pantries of those who need it most.
The shelves here might be full, but for an increasing number of Tasmanians, the cupboards are bare. Australian charity Food Bank is seeing food insecurity skyrocket.
The sad reality is that over the last 12 months, 84,000 Tasmanian households have struggled to put food on the table.
It's teaming up with supermarkets across the state to make hunger history.
By 2025, we aim to divert all of our food waste away from landfill, starting with our supermarkets.
Woolworths stores across Hobart are diverting on average more than 90% of food waste away from landfill. The excess food given to charities, farmers, wildlife or used for recycling and composting. No product goes to waste.
From scraps from producing food in our departments in the store, or from something that may get damaged, or something that we mark down, however it doesn't sell.
Across the state, 54,000 households are experiencing some form of hunger, with numbers expected to soar as the cooler months continue.
On a monthly basis, we're reaching out to 21,200 people in the communities,
doing their bit for Tasmanians who need it most. Rebecca Gaydaneris, 7 Tasmanian News.
Bumper crowds are expected at Agfest thanks to a fine weather forecast, and for a group of Tasmanian kennel clubs, an annual dog display promises to be a popular attraction.
It's all hands on deck for members of the Quercus Park United Kennel Clubs, preparing for a major fundraising effort at this year's Agfest.
We're getting there, but we've been very, very busy for the last couple of days.
Different breeds set to be exhibited, showcasing tracking, dog retrieval, grooming and the ever-popular duck herding demonstration.
We've had lots and lots of people come in to cuddle the dogs and to watch the different events.
Recreational boat safety also being highlighted at this year's field days. Mast chopping up Monica, a familiar fiberglass boat used in previous campaigns.
We chop her in half and show people just what's involved when you buy an old boat and what you need to look out for. And there are a lot of old boats out there.
Boaties can check out new distress signals which will replace handheld flares. Over 600 exhibitors will showcase their wares at this year's event, with the weather expected to be clear over the next 3 days. Including Ulverston's Northwest Motorcycles, keen to show off the latest ATVs for farmers to a big crowd.
Normally in past years we've had huge amounts, and weather is looking great for Agfest, eh?
Gates open from 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Mark Zeta, 7 Tasmanian News.
The Tasmanian Symphony Orchestra will be tuning into a different genre this week when it hosts world-renowned jazz singer Olivia Kindamo. Flying in from New York yesterday, the Australian-born artist will be making her Tasmanian debut on Thursday night.
It's just a pleasure to be here. This is a really, really world-class orchestra and it's a beautiful space.
A change of pace for the TSO, with the performance set to include Kindamo's signature vocal improvisation.
Olivia's an exceptional vocal artist, and I can't remember the last time, or if I've even ever given a performance with a jazz improviser.
And there are tickets still available.
Chargers import Terrell Brown has finally landed in Hobart after winning finals with Norwegian team Fillingen. Arriving Sunday, he's had a bit of time to train with the team, expecting to play Friday against Frankston.
I'm loving the team already. I've seen a couple people already from practicing, and I'm very confident in us.
The Tornadoes can feel their plans starting to come together after a win and narrow loss on the weekend. The physicality against Casey getting the better of their young squad.
As the game went on, we got used to it and we came back in that fourth quarter, and if we'd done that for 4 quarters, we probably would have won.
With Keely coming in and her experience and knowledge and leadership, I thought was a huge difference maker this weekend.
Their final import, Laurie Devos, arrives from Iceland on Friday but won't play until next week. The UTAS women have snared a home qualifying final in the University Basketball League despite their first game, before losing their first game of the season in the final round. Victoria University getting the upper hand at the end of a tight match. The men also qualifying for finals, rounding out their season with a huge 113 to 75 point win over the Victorians. With 7 wickets from just 2 Shield appearances, it's no wonder the Tigers want to keep Clarence bowler Kieran Elliott around. The quick taking Cameron Green in his first over at first-class cricket when he was called up as a fill-in earlier this year, in between his full-time job. Jeff Bourne signing him as a Tiger today, bolstering the bowling stocks.
Good evening. Hobart 16 today. The state's top was the 18 recorded in Launceston, Devonport 17 and Burnie 15 degrees. Now we are in May. Temperatures were within a reach of average. Lyowini the coldest overnight with -4. Lowhead, Bushy Park and the Islands all 17. Smithton and St Helens 16. Friendly Beaches and Grove 15. Strawn 13 and Lyowini did make it to double figures. Nothing on the rain front today. Still some cloudy conditions over the southwest and west coast. A little scattered cloud elsewhere. That cloud still clings on to the Queensland coast and onshore parts of the southern states. A cloud band is over inland Queensland. A front produced the cloud over southwest WA. Tomorrow the high moves to our southwest, maintaining the ridges further north. The trough extends through inland New South Wales and Queensland. We'll have southwest to southeasterly winds tomorrow at 10 to 20 knots, lighter over the north and the inland lakes. The one warning is for severe frosts, with parts of the Midlands down to -3 and to -1 through the upper Derwent Valley, central north, northeast and northwest. Hobart a top of 15, cloudy for Cygnet, 15 as well, 16 the high for New Norfolk. Launceston a cold night, 17 the top. Sunny for Devonport, 16, -2 for Campbelltown, a frost followed by 15 later. 16 for Burnie and sunny, partly cloudy for Strawn and also for Smithton after cool nights, and the east coast mostly sunny. St Helens 16, 15 for Swansea, a morning frost for Fingal, 15 the top. On Friday a possible shower over the east coast but generally fine after morning frost and fog. A 40% chance of a shower for St Helens on Saturday. Fine, partly cloudy weather, the overwhelming forecast elsewhere. And on Sunday, more sunny weather expected after a cool Saturday night. A few showers over Perth with the front there. Sunny and 21 in Adelaide, partly cloudy in Melbourne. Showers forecast for Sydney, Brisbane and Darwin and Broome, 35 and fine. Cloudy and 11 in Hobart, clear in Launceston and currently in Devonport 10 degrees. That's the weather for the 1st of May, Kim, which in over 160 countries of the world is International Workers' Day, where we honour all those that get up for a hard day's yakka. Obviously, you're not included in that.
Leaving that alone. You work one day here, let's just say. And that wraps up tonight's news. As always, thanks for joining us. Good night.